Surveillance video shows a real-life Grinch in action stealing Christmas trees Sunday from outside a home in Paterson, New Jersey. You can see the suspect coming onto the porch, unplugging the two decorative trees, and then walking off with them. The homeowner says the woman escaped in a cab with those trees and other decorations. She says the thief was spotted outside her home the night before the robbery, pacing and apparently intoxicated.
Carefully decorated with ornaments and lights, a floral shop's Christmas tree turns into a police investigation now, all because of a December Grinch who struck a month early.
All right, what she did left workers speechless, but this bedtime story doesn't end there. Christopher Phillips didn't see her until she'd made it all the way up these 17 Christmas-colored stairs.
Yeah, she looked like somebody's grandmother, you know?
But this grandma was no angel. Her arms were loaded, lugging a fully decorated fiber optic tree.
And when I saw her at the top of the steps, I was like, oh my gosh, ma'am, can I help you with that?
As she pretended to shop,
I went downstairs to get the box and came back up and she was gone.
Grandma made a break for it. It just wasn't so clean.
Nothing left but a trail of ornaments down the street.
Christopher scooped up the remnants of her $350 heist.
A little old lady stealing a 3.5-foot Christmas tree.
And marveled at a senior citizen's selfishness so close to Thanksgiving.
To have something like this happen is just sad.
Sad, yes, but here's the icing on this Christmas cake.
She forgot an extra bulb for the fiber optic tree and a colored wheel to make it work.
Oops.
Well, Philadelphia police, meantime, they want the public's help in a brazen Christmas robbery. It was all caught on surveillance video. The victim was waiting for the bus at Frankfort and Allegheny. A white SUV pulled up and a woman got out of the passenger side. She then snatched the purse of the woman waiting for the bus, spraying mace and punching the victim in the process. The suspect fled in the white SUV. The victim was not seriously injured.
A woman in Clayton County was sentenced today to 125 years in jail for killing her baby's father. Jennifer Bellamy joins us with more. Jennifer, it was a trial with a lot of emotion, some shocking testimony, pitting family member against each other.
It really has, Cheryl. Earlier this month, Sierra Harp's own mother took the stand to urge the judge to give her the maximum sentence and also to sterilize her. The mother upset that the murder took place in front of the couple's young daughter. Her testimony a stark contrast to the people who took the stand today to speak in Harp's defense. Now, this story goes back to December of 2017 when Harp shot her baby's father, Raheem Grant, 7 times at an apartment in Riverdale. Grant captured the murder on his own cell phone, and you can hear him begging Harp to let him hold his baby just one more time before he dies. Harp said no. In court today, Harp's uncle took the stand to ask the judge for leniency. He said Sierra Harp was sexually abused as a child, and that impacted her for the rest of her life.
It's written somewhere to train up a child in the way that he should go, and as he gets older, he would never depart from it. That's not what happened here in this childhood.
Other friends of Harp took the stand to testify that she was a good mother, but Harp's own mother said the family tried to help her many times, yet she continued to make bad choices.
Caught on camera, 2 women stealing a purse from a Long Island church during Christmas Eve Mass. As people got up to receive Holy Communion at St. Francis of Assisi's in Greenlawn, you can see the suspects walking down the pews, and the woman on the left grabs a purse. They then left the church, hiding the stolen bag under a jacket. Suffolk County police say that credit cards that were inside the stolen purse have since been used.
Now to a woman dubbed the granny who stole Christmas. A home surveillance camera recently captured a 65-year-old woman in Missouri grabbing 3 packages off a front porch, then just taking off. Investigators believe she staked out the house, driving by in a black Hummer 4 times in less than 5 minutes. Just 2 minutes after that last pass, she made her move. Police tracked her down and arrested her. They believe she's tied to 3 other cases of package theft as well.
This is certainly not the Christmas spirit. And this morning, a woman is behind bars after police say cameras caught her stealing holiday decorations from a Middletown home.
Yeah, and we've even posted her picture on our webpage as well. Now, we told you about this when it first happened. 9 on your side's Kristen Swilley joins us live with how police were finally able to catch her.
Well, what do a snowman, Garfield, and some candy canes have in common? Usually not much, but in this case, they're all some really expensive yard decorations that went missing from this Middletown home last month. One good look at this yard, you can see just how important Christmas really is to the Farthing family. That's why they were so disappointed when a woman made off with them last month. We call her the Middletown Grinch, and now police have made an arrest for petty theft using social media. The Middletown police posted this photo on their Facebook page saying Rebecca Zomez has been located and arrested and thanking the public for their help. This is the woman caught on surveillance camera at that home. A picture, like we said, heavily circulated on Facebook and Twitter. She appears to be taking the decorations away not once, not twice, but 3 times, not including the time the homeowner says her Halloween decorations were stolen just weeks earlier. And that was something that angered the mom, who said she bought the decorations for her kids. She said she'd invested hundreds of dollars in ornaments and had even installed an expensive security system, in total spending more than $800, a big chunk of that just trying to catch the thief. And now police may have done that for her. Now, we don't have an exact court date for Zomez, though she could be in court as early as today. We'll keep you updated as soon as we get that information. Reporting live in Middletown this morning, Kristen Swilley, 9 on your side.
Well, we're following a developing story near downtown. Police just arrested Maria Escalante, accused of shooting and killing her husband at the Plaza Hotel. It happened last night just before midnight, and we're told that body was found somewhere on the 6th floor of the South Tower. As you can imagine, it was a pretty scary ordeal for guests staying on that floor. They all had to be moved to other rooms. We are following this story, and we will bring you the latest information as it comes into our newsroom.
County father told Channel 9 he's still in shock after finding his 6-month-old son dead inside his home on Christmas Eve. Just hours ago, the baby's mother faced a judge for child abuse. Eyewitness News reporter Deshaun Brown spoke to the father about what happened.
And Scott, that father described his relationship with the woman as, quote, rocky. He said the two were just trying to make it together as a couple through Christmas Eve for the sake of their 3 children, or through the holiday, until he made a terrifying discovery on Christmas Eve.
If the police could have done something that day, this probably wouldn't have happened with the baby.
The shock from what deputies say happened here still resonates in this Lincoln County neighborhood. Stephanie Tillman now faces abuse and neglect charges after her boyfriend found their 6-month-old son dead on the living room sofa. Arrest warrants say the child was naked, the home filthy, and Tillman high on drugs.
That night as I walked in, I was blown away because I've never seen anybody live the way that house was looking that night.
Alan, who has 2 other children with Tillman, told me their relationship was, quote, rocky, but didn't think she would hurt them.
She had her moments whenever, it get on her nerves or what have you. Up until this incident, it was things that we could work with.
I went by Tillman's home today here on Temple Lane, where neighbors told a different story. One told me he found the couple's 3- and 4-year-old roaming the streets, naked and alone, twice.
She just didn't seem to really care.
This morning in a Lincoln County court, Tillman's bond was reduced from $100,000 to $10,000 because she had no prior criminal record. Tonight, Alan says he just wants answers.
It's just a bunch of assumptions and guesses and everybody throwing their opinions in. I want facts.
And in the last hour, I spoke to the assistant DA on this case. He told me officials are currently reviewing the autopsy results for that 6-month-old baby. He says he will meet with the district attorney tomorrow to decide if they will pursue any further charges in this case. Reporting live from the Lincoln County Courthouse, Deshaun Brown, Channel 9 Eyewitness News.
Oh, my goodness. Mother under arrest, a son in the hospital. Police call it a domestic crime on Christmas Eve. And it's our top story on Newswatch 16 at 6. Good evening and Merry Christmas. I'm Scott Schaefer. Marisa is off. That woman is facing charges of attempted homicide in Columbia County after police say she stabbed her son in the chest with a steak knife early this morning. Newswatch 16's Peggy Lee has more on what investigators believe led to the attack.
Berwick police have charged Rachel Fallett with attempted homicide and aggravated assault for allegedly attacking her son with a steak knife.
Officers were sent to Fallett's home here on Summerhill Avenue in Berwick around 8 in the morning. They say they found Fallett leaning over her son, who was lying on the ground with blood on his clothes and body. When officers asked them what happened, Fallett's son, Mark Goodson, said repeatedly, "She stabbed me, she stabbed me." But Fallett told police that he stabbed himself with a broken plate. Police say Goodson was taken to Geisinger Medical Center, where it was determined he had a stab wound in his chest as well as a collapsed lung. These neighbors say they were surprised to hear about the violence just across the street.
My one friend posted on Facebook that Rachel, I guess, stabbed Mark, and that's all I saw.
What do you think?
It's crazy.
When officers spoke to Goodson at the hospital, he told them he and his mother had been arguing all morning. Then his mother said, "That's it, I'm killing the dog," then stabbed Goodson in the chest with a steak knife. The person who first found Fallett and Goodson and called 911 told police he saw the two outside while walking down the street. He said when he approached them, Goodson said, "Call me an ambulance." But Fallett said, "No, we'll say that you stabbed yourself."
Mark's a good guy. He works at Turkey Hill all the time, and he just, very laid back fellow, and I'm very surprised that Rachel, his mom was actually part of this.
Rachel Fallett is locked up without bail in Columbia County. Peggy Lee, Newswatch 16.
What can your child do that would be so bad? What, nothing.
Breaking tonight, the family tragedy now considered a murder. Clayton police arresting a woman for allegedly killing her son on Christmas Day. Prosecutors charging Elizabeth Yarborough with second-degree murder after Clayton police initially thought they were dealing with a suicide. Jonah Kaplan has had a busy night. He was on Facebook Live earlier as the Clayton police chief briefed reporters shortly after the charges were filed. Jonah now reports on the shocking discovery that changed everything for detectives.
Ma'am. Her frantic cries left little doubt there was an emergency. And when Elizabeth Yarborough first dialed 911, she tried to tell first responders that whatever happened, it wasn't her fault.
Are you sure that he's been shot?
It looks like he has. I don't know, he had a gun. Please, somebody help me.
Investigators confirming 32-year-old James Benjamin Yarborough did have a gun because he had a concealed carry license. According to Chief Blair Myhan, Elizabeth would tell detectives it was her son, who went by Ben, who pulled the trigger on himself while staying at her home for Christmas. But then she suddenly said something else.
This was not part of questioning her, and she had, confessed to the crime. This was just a statement that she made. I don't think the officer was really prepared to hear what he heard.
At that moment, detectives opened a homicide investigation.
It really boils down to intent. We knew without a shadow of a doubt that she had shot her son. That was not in question, but again, it's not necessarily what you know, it's what you can prove.
As a matter of policy, ABC 11 Eyewitness News, we will not cover or report on suicides, which is why we didn't come here back on Christmas to cover Ben's death. But the residents, they were the eyewitnesses, and some of them took these photos because they said they feared there was something more to the story.
Elizabeth lived among a tight community of active adults, which members say will never be the same.
The way I see it, there's two people who know the truth, her and her son, and he's not here to tell it.
What Underwood does know is that she's a mother too, and tonight she's calling her kids to tell them she loves them.
Oh, I just want to hold my son right now. Honestly, I cannot fathom doing that to one of my children or anybody.
In Clayton, Jonah Kaplan, ABC 11 Eyewitness News.
Now back to that murder in Hillsborough County. A woman tonight just arrested for her husband's murder over the holiday weekend.
ABC Action News reporter Ryan Smith is live in Brandon tonight to show us where deputies made that arrest.
Yeah, guys, well, after multiple interviews and changes to her story, detectives zeroed in on Cheryl Singleton, the man's wife, as the prime suspect in this crime. Detectives say she cooperated throughout this entire investigative process over the past couple of days, even agreeing to meet them here at this Regency Square parking lot yesterday to make the arrest. Despite the festive holiday decor outside, it was no Merry Christmas at the Singleton house this year. Hillsborough County deputies responding Saturday night, Sean Singleton shot and killed inside his home on Flame Tree Circle.
It's very unsettling. We live in a quiet neighborhood, have young children.
and don't like to hear about stuff like that, especially on Christmas Eve.
A Christmas Eve crime taking investigators multiple interviews with the victim's wife, Cheryl Singleton, to figure out what exactly happened. She first said she found her husband's body face down in a pool of blood after returning home from a walk in their Apollo Beach neighborhood. But this arrest report shows us Singleton quickly changed her story, claiming her husband pointed a handgun at her and threatened to shoot her. After a physical struggle, it went off, hitting him. Cheryl Singleton now says she was the victim of abuse and acted in self-defense.
There were a lot of inconsistencies. At this point, our investigation pretty much points to her and that it was premeditated.
And Singleton later admitting to detectives that this fight all stemming from her anger over the couple losing their child, who is now in the care of Florida's Child Protective Services. Singleton, meantime, remains in jail, now facing a charge of first-degree murder. Live in Brandon tonight, Ryan Smith, ABC Action News.
At noon tonight, a woman is caught on camera swiping a little girl's Christmas gift right off of her porch. Have you seen her? This blonde woman in a sweatshirt calmly walked up to Jaime Medina's home in Mission and College Drive in Henderson. She took the package on a stoop and then went back to her car. Medina says he was furious when he realized his daughter's Christmas gift was gone. His family is working with police to find the woman's silver Ford Expedition with a spare tire on the front driver's side. Medina says he hopes this lady doesn't spoil anyone else's holiday season.
I just hope, they're able to learn from their mistakes and maybe they could see, what harm they're doing to other families if they're taking presents.
Medina says his neighbors have seen the same truck slowly driving by other houses on the block. So far, he doesn't believe that anyone else has lost any packages.
Now 6, a Central Indiana mother arrested and facing criminal charges, accused of beating her own kids after they tried to get a sneak peek at their Christmas gifts. This all unfolding in the city of Greenfield.
And investigators tell us this went beyond normal punishment. RTV6's Mike Pelton has this story.
Well, in court documents, what you have is a Greenfield mom who apparently had enough. She's accused of beating her kids who were overly eager for Christmas.
If my granddaughter got into her things, I would just laugh and let her enjoy them.
But Linda Duncan's neighbor might not feel the same way, as court documents accuse 36-year-old Sasha Collins of hitting her 2 boys, ages 7 and 9, throwing one against a wall and hitting the kids with a belt after the boys got into Christmas presents kept in a closet on Sunday.
There were injuries to the arms and to the forearm, to the stomach area of the child.
Prosecutors call the injuries superficial, but say this far exceeded spanking. In court documents, Collins told investigators she doesn't remember details, but she was picking up wrapping paper and yelling at them and hitting them. We're told one of the toys, Buzz Lightyear.
There's no sense in that. I'd tell them Merry Christmas and let them have them. Let them play with them.
Collins pleaded not guilty to 2 felony charges of domestic battery in court this week. She did not answer when we knocked on her door.
A child should never be hurt. We've had several people in this neighborhood that have had problems with their children and had them taken away, and I just am happy that CPS is involved.
An attorney representing Collins declined our request for comment. Collins is due back in court in February. Mike Pelton, RTV6.
I want to go back to breaking news now and give you a live look inside the courtroom in Seattle. Michelle Anderson found guilty of first-degree murder on 6 different counts, convicted of killing 6 family members on Christmas Eve in 2007. She is in the courtroom. Family members are in the courtroom. This has been a long, drawn-out saga for those family members as they were awaiting justice. Her ex-boyfriend, Joseph McEnroe, had already been found guilty of those murders. He is now doing life in prison. She is expected to get the same sentence. They are polling the jury right now, essentially a process where they go jury member by jury member, asking them if this is in fact their jury. But we just heard from the foreman and the clerk there in the court, and the verdict: guilty for Michelle Anderson, once again expected to receive a life sentence.
A Tyler woman is arrested and charged for a Christmas Day shooting that injured her boyfriend. Smith County deputies arrested 63-year-old Susan Agbugba 5 days after the shooting. Investigators say the man was shot in the hip after a domestic disturbance at a home off of Highway 271. He was not seriously hurt. Agbugba was booked into the Smith County jail and then released on $50,000 bond.
A Bristol, Tennessee woman's in jail this evening after she was tracked down following a call about an attempted breaking and entering on Christmas morning. The Washington County, Virginia Sheriff's Office arrested 37-year-old Crystal Yance on several drug and firearms charges. Investigators said a man claimed Yance and another man tried to break into his house. He followed them after they left. Officers tracked the pair down not far from the scene and arrested Yance. They say the male suspect ran away. They're still looking for him tonight. This couple is being investigated for other crimes in the area as well. Meanwhile, Yance is being held in the Abingdon Regional Jail without bond.
A woman from Pensacola is charged in a bloody Christmas morning attack on another woman. Deputies say the suspect hit the victim in the head several times with a hammer. News 5's Cody Long is in Pensacola tonight with more on what he's learning from Escambia County Sheriff's deputies.
Deputies were called to a home around 10 o'clock Christmas morning, and when they got there, they found a woman covered in blood. According to the arrest report, 29-year-old Brittany Davis thought the victim had taken something of hers and put it in her purse. While she was walking to the bathroom, Davis allegedly grabbed a hammer and hit the victim in the head multiple times. The victim is in town visiting for the holidays from Tennessee. It's not clear what the relationship is between the suspect and the victim. The woman was taken to Baptist Hospital to be treated for her injuries. And Davis was booked into the Escambia County Jail on a $10,000 bond and released the same day. In Pensacola, Cody Long, WKRG News 5.
They've been here before on other domestic violence issues involving the teenage daughter. Take a look behind me here as Clinton Township Police are still securing the crime scene, and a family friend says the teenager under arrest recently cut another relative in the hand, but the family did not want to see her prosecuted.
The relationship was not good.
He's talking about the relationship between 45-year-old Sonia Ryang and her 17-year-old daughter, the teenager now under arrest, accused of murdering her mother on Christmas Day. Sonia, who was disabled and bound to a wheelchair, was found dead last night in the Clinton Township apartment she shared with her children and a cousin. And we're told Sonia's 17-year-old daughter has a temper and talked about hating her mom.
She cursed her out and said things that usually kids don't say to their parents, or especially their mother.
Norman has a 7-year-old daughter with Sonia, and thankfully the little girl was with him on Christmas Day and not at her mother's. We're told Sonia's 17-year-old daughter was not here when her body was found last night, but early this morning Clinton Township Police tracked her down about a quarter mile away at this 7-Eleven at the corner of 15 Mile and Garfield. And police say they had been out to the apartment before for domestic violence issues where the teenager had also been the offender.
A couple months ago, maybe a month ago, there was about 5 cop cars across the street, and I was very skeptical and curious about what was going down then too.
Detectives now trying to find out what could have allegedly sparked a teen's rage and how could it end with murder.
I don't know exactly why she felt that way about her mother, but it wasn't good at all.
And Sonia's 17-year-old daughter could be charged in her death as early as tomorrow. We will certainly keep you updated. Reporting live in Clinton Township, Kimberly Craig, 7 Action News. Back to you.
Porch pirate strikes again. This time a woman steals a package off the porch of a Palm Springs home in broad daylight. The woman was caught, recorded for all to see on a home security camera. And tonight, WPTV News Channel 5's Todd Wilson spoke with the homeowner.
I was scared for my family because you don't know what's going to happen.
Diana Ortero is in shock that someone would steal a package off her porch.
It's not the matter that you take something valuable, but just the issue that you're having someone that you don't know in front of your door.
Palm Springs police say the woman was caught on a Ring camera. Investigators say she was seen stealing the package right off the porch Tuesday around 12:30. She was last seen pushing a baby stroller with other packages south on Cayman Drive toward 10th Avenue. Ortero says she was home at the time of the theft and had been waiting on the package from Amazon.
Since that person from Amazon didn't ring the bell when he came, that's why I didn't notice that the package was outside. So that lady came, I think, like 5 or 6 minutes later.
The Ring camera took a clear picture of the woman. Ortero says it's the first time she's seen the lady in the neighborhood. She says the police are on top of the situation.
They are doing a good job because they have been talking to me and they are really worried about the situation.
In Palm Springs, Todd Wilson, WPTV News Channel 5.
Carrie Portinari is led into a Hillsborough County courtroom for a bail hearing 24 hours after authorities say she pointed a rifle at several people, including an infant child, as they arrived at this apartment home to visit their family for Christmas.
There was a witness who was driving down the street who did witness the defendant pointing a rifle at two men and a baby.
Witnesses also told police Portinari was entering and smacking cars that did not belong to her. Responding officers say the 43-year-old refused to speak with them and went back into her apartment. That's when the SWAT team was called in, C Street was closed off, and the neighborhood was put on lockdown, creating quite the scene for those who live there, including the Musuku family.
I check outside, I see a big truck. It says SWAT. I was like, oh, shoot. I was like, Mom, come here. Mom, come here.
Prosecutors say Portinari admitted to police she got in a heated argument with her roommate earlier that day. She was eventually taken into custody after being tased by police. In court today, her attorney highlighted his client's lack of criminal record.
She basically has no criminal record. She has a single DUI conviction. That's from 2016.
Friends of Portinari who were at the hearing described her off camera as one of the nicest people, saying this is not the Carrie they know. A statement also echoed by her neighbors.
Yeah, I'm really surprised. I mean, she was always nice to us.
And in the end, the judge ordered Portinari to be held on $20,000 cash bail. Live in the newsroom, I'm Tim Callery, WMUR News 9.
No one in their right mind would do something like this.
A family prays for a miracle after their loved one is run over by a woman trying to rob them. New at 6, why authorities say this woman never should have been on the streets in the first place. Good evening, everyone. I'm Jameson Mueller. Brendan is off tonight.
And I'm Wendy Ryan. Thanks for joining us. Detectives in Polk County arrest a woman who they say ran over an innocent father on Christmas Eve. All new at 6. Our Ryan Raish is live outside the sheriff's office with exactly how this hit-and-run crash happened. Ryan.
Wendy, detectives say the victim actually caught this woman, the thief, in the act, stealing a Christmas package off his front porch. He ran after her, yelled at her to stop, but she wouldn't.
Since this has happened, I've been afraid to be in my home.
The one place this family always felt safe will forever be linked to a scene of horror.
Can you just send them? Okay, she hit him with her car? Yes.
Investigators say Richard Lewis just returned home on Christmas Eve with his wife and mother. When they pulled up, they saw Marilyn DeBoer walking off their porch with a package in hand, a Christmas present. It was a pair of boots from Macy's.
And he said, well, let's talk about those packages you just took off of my front door. At this time, he's standing in front of the car.
Sheriff Grady Judd says DeBoer did not even hesitate and drove right at him.
And it's just by the grace of God on Christmas Eve that he wasn't killed right in front of his mother and his wife.
Detectives found this surveillance video from a house nearby that they say caught DeBoer driving in and out of the neighborhood. Deputies arrested her Thursday night at a hotel but are still looking for her Kia Sportage.
Believe it or not, and I know a lot of people find this very difficult, but I pray for the people that did it. Yes, I want justice, but vengeance isn't mine. So I pray for her, and I pray that she gets the help she needs.
Linda Lewis says her husband suffered critical injuries in the accident, and he needs all the prayers he can get. His family struggles to talk about what happened.
It's hard, but we are a Christian family, and we stick together. And if it wasn't for that, we wouldn't have made it through it.
While they are spending their days in the hospital, DeBoer is locked in a jail cell, a place Grady Judd says the career criminal should have never been allowed to leave. She's currently serving 7 different probation orders.
Come on now. She's got almost 100 criminal charges in front of her, and she's only done 1.5 years in state prison.
The suspect in this case has an unbelievable criminal history. We're talking more than 40 felonies and 58 misdemeanors. Her latest, attempted murder, leaving the victim's family absolutely heartbroken and praying for a speedy recovery. Live tonight in Winter Haven, Ryan Raish, ABC Action News.
A 19-year-old woman is behind bars after a shooting on Christmas Day. Danville police say Zakia Joyette is charged with aggravated malicious wounding. Officers say she shot a 22-year-old man on Grove Street in a domestic-related incident.
Well, there was a witness who told police he saw the suspect going through someone else's mailbox and taking out their mail. So police tracked down the suspect, and inside of her car, they found a bag of mail that wasn't addressed to her.
And the doorbell rang, and so I hobbled out here, and there was a police officer at the gate. And when police randomly show up to your door, that's kind of weird. But asked if anybody had been picking up our mail the last couple of days, and said there wasn't.
A similar situation for a woman down the road.
I'd rather get Christmas cards than than a knock on the door.
But that wasn't the case.
They said that they had found some little packages and mail of ours in this person's car. Asked if we knew the person. I said I didn't, and I had no idea why our mail would be in their vehicle.
This is who police are talking about. 30-year-old Ashley Renee Sampere. She's the one officers say went through 6 different mailboxes down 21st Street from Indian School to Bethany Home.
Well, they haven't mentioned anything about returning anything. I'll testify that I didn't give anybody permission to take my mail. I mean, unless she wants to pay my bills.
Sampere is facing 6 felony burglary charges. Police also found out she'd been using bad checks to pay her rent, adding 5 additional felony fraud charges.
Yeah, I think that's pretty concerning as far as having our personal life looked into.
Victims say they're worried about having their personal information out there, but think technology has them covered.
We've had pretty good luck with our financial stuff. Whenever something slips, we get contacted immediately. You get pinged through an app.
As for the missing mail, the victims say they haven't heard back.
I assume that it wasn't even offered, so I assume that right now it's in evidence.
And they don't think any really great gifts are missing.
Potentially, but I have a feeling that if it was really a great gift, then we probably know.
And police say that Sampere did all of this between November 13th to December 23rd. Reporting live in Phoenix tonight, Joey Carrera, Arizona's Family.
We're following some breaking news not right now. The Monroe County Sheriff's Office confirming a suspect is in custody following the death of a 10-month-old. The child shot in the face on Christmas Eve. Deputies say Tamika Stallworth opened fire into an occupied vehicle in the Peterman community, striking 10-month-old Jemiah Austin inside. The child was rushed to USA Hospital but later passed away. Stallworth was taken into custody the same day, charged with Jemiah's murder. Stallworth's bond has been set at $750,000. We'll continue to follow this story on air and online at fox10tv.com.
Well, a Wilmington woman is facing a handful of charges after police say she stabbed her boyfriend in the neck with a pen. Police say Tammy White stabbed her 49-year-old boyfriend during an argument on Tuesday afternoon on Route 9 in Georgetown. White is accused of punching her boyfriend while he was driving and then stabbing him with a pen. The victim was able to stop his vehicle and get out and ask another driver for help. He was rushed to the hospital and treated for his injuries.
Residents in a Jupiter neighborhood are on alert after a yoga pants-wearing woman appears to be snatching packages that don't belong to her. Porch pirates, all of us are dealing with it these days, and WPTV News Channel 5's Chris Gilmore reports at least one Abacoa resident may have caught a bold burglar on camera. Chris?
Jupiter police do confirm that they're investigating a case of stolen property from the doorsteps of this Abacoa neighborhood. They say it's all tied to ring video circulating on social media showing a woman wearing yoga pants and a baseball cap. Caught on camera.
So I guess it's irritating that someone's going around taking things that aren't theirs.
Scooping packages from doormats in Abacoa.
This girl, she was like going from door to door taking packages.
The owner of this video tells us the yoga pant wearing woman had no business walking away with her package. Jupiter police say the video from the woman's Ring camera is helping the case. The department has partnered with the Home and Business Surveillance Company to help solve alleged crimes just like this.
We have the ability through our partnership with Ring to request videos specific to certain cases to aid us with our investigation.
The people who live here say they're extra cautious right now as they wait for holiday packages.
I had another Amazon delivery that I wasn't sure if it was delivered yet. It was supposed to be here and it's not, so now that you're here, I'm wondering if someone did steal it from my door.
Now she's considering getting her own security.
I guess I should probably get one of those cameras for my door.
You know, a lot of us don't have like the camera. We will be getting one.
Residents we spoke to in this Abacoa neighborhood tell us that one of the move-in incentives for new residents do include an option for a Ring camera. In the meantime, Jupiter police say they're still investigating this case and they're warning porch pirates that there's always someone watching. We're reporting live in Abacoa, Chris Gilmore, WPTV News Channel 5.
On Friday, prosecutors and a newspaper said a Washington state woman was found guilty of murdering 6 family members during a Christmas Eve gathering in 2007. The killings happened after a dispute over money. The King County Prosecuting Attorney's Office said on its Facebook page, 37-year-old Michelle Anderson of Carnation was convicted on 6 counts of aggravated first-degree murder. The Seattle Times reported the King County Superior Court jury found Anderson guilty of gunning down her brother, sister-in-law, their 2 children, ages 5 and 3, and her parents. The killings happened in their parents' home.
This is what the Grinch stole from us, and for love now, hopefully she'll go to jail.
Cedric Floyd now has the $30 picture frame he ordered a few weeks ago.
Me and my wife, my daughter, Santa.
The original one was stolen from his doorstep last Thursday. Tracking told him it had been delivered, but the box ended up in a neighbor's yard.
One of my neighbors from the next street showed me a video of someone dumping an empty package in her yard that was addressed to me.
That video also shows the woman get out of her car, walk up to this home, open the iron gate, and take off with another package. The homeowner who sent us this video says it was a gift for her grandson that she still hasn't gotten back.
Scrooge.
Police say last Friday that Scrooge, identified as 30-year-old Delamie Stevenson, also stole a package containing thousands of dollars worth of prescription drugs belonging to a cancer patient.
I looked for it all day. It didn't arrive. And since it was close to the holiday, I thought maybe they finally had extra package and thing delivered, so I waited till Saturday.
The 87-year-old victim suffers from lung cancer. What do you think about this woman she's gone from door to door just stealing people's packages? And
yeah, something must be wrong with her. She got to be mental. I don't know what she was thinking of.
It's really evil and disheartening this time of year, especially when they'd stolen someone's cancer drugs. Now you're putting people's lives in peril.
Officers did find the drugs and other stolen property after getting a warrant to search Stevenson's car. Anyone with information about any other possible thefts by Stevenson is asked to call 7 District Police officers or call Crime Stoppers. Reporting in New Orleans East, I'm Casey Ferrand, WDSU News.
The latest in a series of recent knife attacks in Toronto has a disturbing twist to it tonight: the age of the accused. More from Global's Cindy Palm.
Police say a 13-year-old girl randomly stabbed a stranger here at this shopping plaza on Christmas Day. The young suspect appeared in court for her bail hearing, but we cannot identify her because she's underage. It's the reason we are hiding her father's identity.
Everybody's a shock. It's a shock for everybody, just for the community, everybody.
The 13-year-old was with a group of friends around 7 p.m. on Christmas Day when police say they verbally assaulted 2 strangers here by Don Mills in Eglinton before it escalated. And the suspect allegedly punched one of the girls before stabbing the other stranger, also 13 years old, in the leg with a knife. The injuries to the victim's leg were incredibly serious, but luckily there was a woman walking by who happened to be a doctor, performed CPR on her, got back a pulse. The victim was taken to hospital where police told me she has been stabilized and is expected to survive. The suspect faces 6 charges, including attempted murder.
Right now, at this point, the allegations are just that there was one stab, one thrust, and it's to the leg. It doesn't sound to me on the surface like an attempt murder. It sounds like, at the high end, it's a very serious assault, an aggravated assault. I can't really comment on what she's saying to me or really what I'm saying to her either, but she's a scared person, and she's seems to be displaying a great deal of courage, and she's not breaking down and crying. She's keeping her head up.
The bail hearing for the young suspect has been postponed until Wednesday, meaning she will remain behind bars until then. Cindy Palm, Global News.
A new video just into ABC 15, a Phoenix woman making her first court appearance accused of one of the most disturbing crimes we've ever heard of.
Investigators now saying Anitra Braxton murdered a woman on Christmas Eve and then lived with her body as a shrine on her living room couch for 3 days. ABC 15's Ashley Thompson is live near Bethany Home and 15th Avenue. And Ashley, we're hearing the victim here may have been pregnant.
Well, that's right, Steve. Police say Braxton told them that the victim was pregnant. They're still working to confirm that, but we do know the suspect lived right here in these apartments behind me. Her neighbors tell me she was about my size. They say she had problems, but they never imagined she would murder someone.
I live right upstairs. And like I said, I'm always hearing the outbursts of anger.
Leonard Tumblin has lived in his second-floor apartment for 3 years. He says about 4 months ago, Anitra Braxton moved in downstairs, right under him. He says there was always noise coming from her apartment.
Like a psychotic rage, because she's constantly going off, constantly. I mean, she approached, hey, cuz, saying the N-word, and I'll blow your head off. I was like, okay.
Tumblin says he never took her threats seriously.
But I know she has mental problems. Everyone around here knows that she does.
Police were called to Braxton's apartment on Saturday. She told them she was the only one home. But when police looked through her door, they saw a dead body. Braxton later admitted to killing the woman, shooting her in the eye on Christmas Eve. She told officers she did it because the victim wasn't right with God.
She would always talk about a certain book of the Bible, the book of Jeremiah. But all she kept saying is, God told me to read the book of Jeremiah over and over again.
The victim's body left on Braxton's couch for 3 days with a towel over her head. She told detectives the victim was a shrine from God. Tumblin, shocked to learn his neighbor could be capable of committing such a heinous crime.
Wow, I'm totally shocked. How can a human being do something like that?
Now, Braxton is being charged with first-degree murder. If the victim is indeed pregnant, this will then be considered a double homicide. And just want to let you know the victim has not yet been identified. Back to you.
2 UMass students have been arrested for allegedly stealing a Christmas tree from the annual Boy Scouts fundraiser in downtown Amherst. 22 News reporter Alessandra Martinez joins us live from the Hampshire County Bureau after finding out why they stole the tree.
That's right. Those 2 girls told Amherst police that they were dared to steal that Christmas tree by a 3rd girl who still hasn't been caught yet. Now, Amherst Police Detective Michael Forcombe says that 21-year-old Lindsay Zapalo and 21-year-old Miranda Murphy were both found walking with the tree at around 1 o'clock Friday morning. Now, the trees are stored and sold at Kendrick Park in Amherst, and all of the money raised is used to pay for the membership fees for Boy Scouts in Troop 500 who can't afford the cost on their own. 22 News spoke with Scoutmaster Michelle Chandler, who didn't hear about this incident until Monday.
Because I have my Scoutmaster patch.
My first reaction was, seriously? And my second was, I'm so disappointed. This is something that has been going on in Amherst my entire life, as far as I know.
Both UMass students were arrested for $250 larceny, but pled not guilty at their arraignment in Eastern Hampshire District Court. Now, the troop is hoping to raise between $4,000 and $5,000, and if you do want to buy a Christmas tree from Troop 500, you can go ahead and do that before December 22nd or before they're all sold out. Live from the Hampshire County Bureau tonight in Northampton, Alessandra Martinez, 22 News.
Is certainly not the Christmas spirit, and this morning a woman is behind bars after police say cameras caught her stealing holiday decorations from a Middletown home.
Yeah, and we've even posted her picture on our webpage as well. Now, we told you about this when it first happened. 9 on Your Side's Kristen Swilley joins us live with how police were finally able to catch her.
Well, what do a snowman, Garfield, and some candy canes have in common? Usually not much, but in this case, they're all some really expensive yard decorations that went missing from this Middletown home last month. One good look at this yard, you can see just how important Christmas really is to the Farthing family. That's why they were so disappointed when a woman made off with them last month. We call her the Middletown Grinch, and now police have made an arrest for petty theft using social media. The Middletown police posted this photo on their Facebook page saying Rebecca Zomez has been located and arrested and thanking the public for their help. This is the woman caught on surveillance camera at that home. A picture, like we said, heavily circulated on Facebook and Twitter. She appears to be taking the decorations away not once, not twice, but 3 times, not including the time the homeowner says her Halloween decorations were stolen just weeks earlier. And that was something that angered the mom, who says she bought the decorations for her kids. She said she'd invested hundreds of dollars in ornaments and had even installed an expensive security system, in total spending more than $800. A big chunk of that just trying to catch the thief, and now police may have done that for her. Now, we don't have an exact court date for Zomez, though she could be in court as early as today. We'll keep you updated as soon as we get that information. Reporting live in Middletown this morning, Kristen Swilley, 9 on your side.
A Washington State woman has received a life sentence for murdering 6 members of her family on Christmas Eve 2007. Michelle Anderson of Carnation, Washington, was sentenced April 21st to life in prison without parole following a conviction on March 4th. The 37-year-old was given 6 life sentences for the first-degree aggravated murder charges. A prosecutor changed his mind about seeking the death penalty last July. Anderson and her now ex-boyfriend gunned down her parents, her brother and sister-in-law, and their 2 children, ages 5 and 3. King County Senior Deputy Prosecutor Scott O'Toole said Anderson was the mastermind behind the murders. Court documents reveal that Anderson's brother hadn't paid back money that he owed her, and her parents had been pressuring her to start paying rent for staying on their property. Joseph McEnroe, her ex-boyfriend, is also serving 6 life sentences after a conviction last year. He was spared the death penalty when a jury failed to reach a unanimous decision. For Newsbeat Social, I'm Chad Carter.
News now. A Jacksonville woman has been charged with murder after authorities say she killed a family friend and then hid the body under a pile of gifts, Christmas gifts, meant for nieces, nephews, and grandchildren. The victim's twin brother actually made the gruesome discovery. Police later tracked down the suspect, Patty Michelle, in South Carolina. They say she had been living there for a few months and returned to Florida to rob the 67-year-old woman. White allegedly did odd jobs for the victim's family and also had access to their credit and debit cards.
Prosecutors in Johnson County have now filed formal charges against a Greenwood woman accused of killing her own mother. Stephanie Bryant was in court to hear those charges today. South Bureau reporter Ben Morrison joins us live from Franklin.
Well, Eric, court records show that 7 years ago, Stephanie Bryant tried to burn down her mother's home with her in it. So neighbors say they're really not surprised now that Bryant has been charged with murdering her mother. The body of 83-year-old Stella Morgan was found in her garage Christmas Eve. She died from blows to the head, possibly from a hammer. The murder stunned the neighborhood.
She's a fine lady, good church worker, good lodge worker, good all around. She helped us when I broke my hip. She come up and see me, wanted to do anything she could for us. She was wonderful.
Stephanie Bryant, the victim's adopted daughter, is behind bars.
We filed a murder charge, single count of murder against this individual based on the probable cause that was brought to us from the Greenwood Police Department.
Police say the mother and daughter's relationship was strained. Authorities say Bryant has a history of mental illness.
Basically, from what we understand from the family, she has been, for a large percentage of the time, what you would define as homeless.
Neighbors recall the daughter's quirky behavior.
When we first saw her this summer, she come up the street just dragging a duffel bag behind her with a rope. And we saw her several times doing that. So we knew she didn't have anything, and we're really not surprised.
The daughter was arrested at the bus station, her clothing soaked with blood. Court records showed the defendant was upset with her mother because she wouldn't give her money. We're back live in Johnson County, where Stephanie Bryant is still behind bars here at the Johnson County Jail in Franklin. Authorities say at one time Bryant was homeless in Washington, D.C., where she was taken into custody by the Secret Service for threatening the life of the president. We are live in Franklin. I'm South Bureau reporter Ben Morrison, 6 News.
All right, we'll continue to follow that story. Thank you, Ben.
Having a holiday party inside a banquet hall in northwest Detroit takes a violent turn when shots are fired inside. Tonight, Detroit police are searching for the woman suspected of pulling the trigger. Let's get right to 7 Action News reporter Kimberly Craig, who talked to the victim. Kim, does she know the suspect here?
No, not at all. She says she has no idea who the shooter is, and she never even saw the shooter. And she says she was not even involved in this dispute that took place here in this banquet hall behind me here. But she did hear the shots, then saw she was covered in blood.
It's something that don't nobody ever want to go through. Like, you don't know if you're going to be here or if you're going to die.
This woman, who only wants to go by Jessica, thought this Christmas might have been her last after she was shot inside the new Rosedale house on West McNichols.
I could have lost my life. Anything.
The new Rosedale house is a banquet center, and there was a birthday party here last night, and not everyone's good time continued into early Tuesday morning. That's when witnesses say there was some sort of dispute. Moments later, there was a gunshot, and Jessica and some of her relatives were already moments away from walking out when she was hit by the second shot.
After I got shot, I was so devastated, like everything was like a blank to me. All I can think about is my child.
Jessica's cousin drove as they raced to Sinai Grace Hospital.
I was screaming and crying, looking at all that blood coming out. And I didn't want to go and shop. So I kind of like calmed down, but it was burning real bad.
And all she could think about was her little girl.
Am I going to live to see my baby? I thank God. I thank God when I was in the hospital that I made it.
Jessica was shot in the shoulder and has already been released from the hospital. Question now is, who is the woman who opened fire and where is she hiding?
Because either way it go, you're going to get caught. So, rather if you don't come up today or tomorrow, they might catch you a year from now. Just be woman enough just to come up and say something.
And anyone with any information on the shooting or the suspected shooter is urged to call Detroit Police at the 8th Precinct. Reporting live in Northwest Detroit, Kimberly Craig, 7 Action News.
Rockledge mother, after being questioned by authorities tonight, has been charged with arson and child abuse, suspected of setting her own house on fire this Christmas. The home on the 1000 block of Bernice Road in Rockledge was destroyed this morning. As Michelle Meredith reports, police are telling us the fire might have happened as a result of a bizarre Christmas Day domestic disturbance that has landed Jill Batchelor in jail.
Christmas Day confusion. This house has been destroyed by fire, and now the mother is under investigation. Neighbors shot this dramatic video of the home on Bernice Road in Rockledge. Smoke billowing out of it, firefighters trying to save it.
She says that the internet told her that she would die by the 1st of January.
23-year-old Joshua Batchelor lived in the house with his mother, 13-year-old brother, and his mother's fiance. Joshua says after a bizarre series of events, his mom set the house on fire.
She got a lighter, well, she said they were matches, and lit a book on fire in paper, threw a blanket into the flames, and threw oil pastel paintings into the flames, and said she was going to die in the house.
The woman's fiance says she's bipolar, has been acting very strange lately, and this morning around 8, Dennis Paradise says he left the house because he couldn't take it anymore.
I got tired of her trashing my house, breaking dishes, breaking everything, and I clean it up and she redoes it all over again.
Neighbors say it was then close to 10 a.m. when they saw mother and son running between homes.
The son told me that, looked in at the mom, said you can't run from the cops, and then turns to me and said she set the house on fire.
They looked across the street and discovered it was. Firefighters say there were no injuries, but the house is basically a total loss.
They may have the 4 walls will stay up, but the whole interior of the house is gutted with smoke and heat damage.
The family's 3 dogs have been rescued. The woman was taken into police custody. Police say her possible role in the fire is under investigation. Arrangements are being made for the Red Cross to help this family. In Brevard County, Michelle Meredith, West 2 News.
18-year-old Ana Riel Macias found dead in a Casa Grande apartment, and now her mother is behind bars. Connie Villa was arrested after she was released from Maricopa Medical Center, where she was being treated after police say she stabbed herself. Police say Connie had a plan to kill her family before taking her own life. It started with her kids.
Our investigation indicates Connie Villa forced her children to take prescription narcotic drugs in an attempt to kill them.
Police say she then lured her ex-husband, Adam Villa, to the house and started stabbing him when he showed up.
Police arrested an Old Orchard Beach woman in connection to recent thefts at a Saco cemetery. She's now been charged with 3 misdemeanors. WMTW News 8's Courtney Sturgeon joining us live now from Saco to explain. Courtney.
David, the woman has been arrested for stealing wreaths from Laurel Hill Cemetery. Police were first notified of the thefts in late November, early December, and with the help of Facebook, they've managed to track down the woman involved. Police arrested 56-year-old Pamela Golars of Old Orchard Beach after she turned herself in. One of the victims set up a hidden camera at the cemetery. Video from it shows someone taking wreaths from grave sites. Police later posted that video to Facebook, which led to search warrants on 2 properties and later a woman's arrest. Golars is charged with theft, stolen property, and falsifying physical evidence.
We did not interview her a second time. The initial interview, she denied it. We had enough evidence to seek arrest and search warrants, and we feel confident we've arrested the party who's involved.
Golars was released on bail earlier today, and she's expected to appear in court in late January at Biddeford District Court. Live in Saco, I'm Courtney Sturgeon, WMTW News 8.
Brittany Robinson hid her face from our cameras as investigators led her into magistrate court. Robinson charged with homicide, concealing the death of a child, and abuse of a corpse, following a gruesome discovery at her father's Shenango Township house yesterday.
There was a homeowner that was actually out doing decorative work, putting up Christmas lights, and was running a wire under the porch and discovered a bag. When he opened the bag, he found the baby.
Court documents allege Robinson gave birth to a full-term baby boy in the bathtub at her home on Friday. She told investigators the baby did not have a heartbeat or a pulse, so she wrapped him in a black t-shirt and put him in a bottom dresser drawer on the porch. Police say she went back to check on the baby on Saturday and he still wasn't breathing. And that's when she told investigators she moved him to the crawl space before going to work. On Sunday, her father found the baby and called police. Police say her family had no idea she was pregnant.
They've all indicated to us that they weren't aware of it, that she kept it a secret. Once again, she did have she has an 8-year-old child as well at this time, so she's familiar with being pregnant.
Court documents allege she never sought medical attention or went to the police because she was scared. I asked Robinson after her arraignment if she had anything to say about the charges filed against her or why she was crying in court, but she said nothing. Court documents say Robinson told police she also didn't know she was pregnant, but evidence at the scene proved otherwise. A preliminary autopsy shows the baby was born after a full-term pregnancy weighing 7 pounds.
Carrie Mother is facing charges accused of leaving her 10-year-old son outside in the cold so that she could attend a Christmas party. Police said 43-year-old Susan Dallas locked her son out of their home in freezing temperatures Monday. Records show Dallas didn't give her child adequate clothing, nourishment, or supervision, while she and other relatives went to a party for hours. Temperatures, meantime, were in the 30s. Dallas is now charged with misdemeanor child abuse.
Discovery: the badly burned body of a 12-year-old boy found in a ditch in northeast Houston.
Today, the woman accused of killing Jonathan Foster is on trial for his murder, and it is a judge, not a jury, who will decide Mona Nelson's fate.
Eyewitness News reporter Deborah Wrigley has been in the courtroom all day and brings us today's testimony and the one piece of evidence prosecutors will not give. Deborah?
That's right, Alona, and what we are talking about in this case is motive. None was given by the state in its opening statements this morning. It's not necessarily in a trial, rather, but it still leaves the mystery of Jonathan Foster's death unanswered.
When Jonathan Foster turned 12, his wish was to go live with his mother and her new husband. A month after coming to Houston in 2010, he was kidnapped, murdered, his burned body dumped in a ditch, and the prosecution says it was Mona Nelson who killed him on Christmas Eve.
We had the defendant taking Jonathan, and between 2:15 and 6:08, she killed him.
Nelson conceded in the past that she dumped the contents of a garbage can from her truck into a drainage ditch, but she says she did it at the request of the boy's stepfather. Inside was the body of the boy wrapped in carpet. Nelson is pleading not guilty to the capital murder charge.
Because she dumped the trash can, she must have killed him. It's a bandwagon case. I ask the court to please look at each issue that we bring forth with each witness.
The first witness, Jonathan's mother, Angela Davis, heart-wrenching testimony in which she spoke of a phone call she received at work on Christmas Eve. A manager said it was from her babysitter, but Jonathan didn't have one. She called. A strange woman answered, she says. She could hear her son in the background, and then the line went dead. When she returned to the duplex where she and Jonathan were staying with a friend, no one was home. Davis: I ran up and down the street, banging on doors, standing in the parking lot, hollering my son's name. 4 days later, her fears were realized when she was told her son's body had been found. Davis: all I could do was scream. There's a lot I don't remember about that day.
The case is what's called a bench trial. That is, the defendant opted to have the judge decide guilt or innocence. The trial is expected to last 2 weeks.